you listen to the verses of 30 to 37 of Surah Al-Baqarah, the second surah in the Holy Book, Quran. They describe Adam's creation, the dialogue between Allah and the angels. Adam's first trial. Allah informs the angels that he will appoint a trustee, Khilafah, on earth. The angels know that human will spread corruption and shed blood, while Allah praises humanity, asserts his superior knowledge. Adam is taught the names of all things, a distinctive human ability, though not the focus here today. More relevant for this conference are verses 33 to 34, where Allah elevates humans above the angels. He commands them to bow before Adam, all obey except Iblis, Satan, who refuses out of arrogance. Adam and his wife may live in the garden, but must avoid a specific tree. Satan tempts them, leading to their descent on earth. However, caution is needed to this point. Satan does not tempt them by making them eat an apple. How exactly does he deceive Adam and his spouse? Surah Taha provides the answer. Let's have a look. It says here, but then Satan tempted him by him saying, "O Adam, should I show you the tree of immortality and a kingdom that will never know any wane?" Iblis, Satan, whispers to Adam that the forbidden tree grants eternal life and enduring dominion. Adam and his wife are deceived and eat from it. Theologically, these verses highlight human fallibility. Adam is warned but still succumbs to temptation. This shows the human nature. Both passages address Adam's creation, the fall, and Iblis' influence. They highlight themes such as human dignity, responsibility, and the link between knowledge and status, the fall and forgiveness, Satan's role in human fallibility. So, how do these characteristics, God's test on earth, Satan's temptation of granting eternity, relate to new technologies in the age of transhumanism? So, to me, as a researcher in the field of Islamic religious pedagogy, I focus on Islamic educational processes. Particularly, I am interested in contents. That means I address the question, how are these contents conveyed? No, what are taught in various learning settings? It doesn't matter if it's schools, families, or mosques. What do we define as Islamic knowledge? And then the second part is didactics. That means, how are these contents conveyed to the next generation? What an Islamic understanding? This is what I do. My research on Muslim families, Islamic religious education, and schools and higher Islamic education, such as Islamic theology at universities, shows that educational processes are currently not really equipped to address and integrate new technological advancement, like many other disciplines too. However, the intersection of transhumanism and religion presents unique challenges for us. Trans or posthumanism encompass diverse fields such as AI, biotechnology, genome editing, neurotechnology, cyborg and enhancement, nanotechnology, and so on. A fundamental issue is that transhumanist ideology differs significantly from Islamic thought, leading many theologians to express deep skepticism. Yet, technological advancement will continue to shape society, especially for younger generations who cannot simply say, no, I don't go with this movement. As a scientist, I am particularly interested in this intersection. How should Islamic education engage with these technologies? And this is the third point, the adaptation. How do content and methods evolve in challenging times? Today, I will provide only an overview of transhumanism and Islam to explore their relationship. A deeper analysis of its implications and its integration into teaching, into Islamic religious pedagogy, will follow later in the publication. A review of the literature shows limited publications on this topic, with almost none from an Islamic educational perspective. Most theologians remain highly critical of transhumanism, as you wrote about it, and though a few suggest that an Islamic theological foundation for it may exist. Due to time constraints, I will not cover definitions of transhumanism in detail. So let's start with Islam and science. Islam has always been open to scientific and technological progress, as seen in multiple Quranic verses, and emphasize the pursuit of knowledge and reflection on creation. The Quran highlights the importance of learning, reasoning, and acquiring knowledge from nature, encouraging reflecting as a source of understanding. Key concepts such as, you'll see it here, tafakkur, that means think about it and reflect it, and even tadabbur, ta'akkul, and tafahum, and aql, reason. Support knowledge acquisition alongside divine textual revelation, nas. So we have on the one hand aql and tafakkur, to think about it, to reflect it, and on the other hand we have the holy book, the text. So historically, Islam has promoted scientific advancement, especially during the Islamic Golden Age, with scholars like Al-Khwarizmi contributing to mathematics, Ibn al-Haytham to optics, and Al-Jazari to robotics. Especially, he designed complex mechanical devices considered as precursors to modern robotics. And if you are interested in this topic, you will see here a short film about Al-Jazari's mechanical devices. Yeah, it's very short, but it's interesting. These innovations demonstrate that Islam views science positively as long as it benefits, and that's the key point, as long as it benefits humanity and aligns with ethical principles such as adl, benevolence, ihsan, and harm prevention, darar. But how was it historically determined in the Islamic tradition whether science and technology served humanity and aligned with ethical principles? And he was responsible for making such decisions. The decision-making process has involved scholars, ulama, jurists, fuqaha, and rulers. Scholars relied on sources of Islamic law, Sharia, Quran, Hadith. These are the sayings and actions of Prophet Muhammad, ijma', consensus of scholars, qiyas, analogical reasoning based on existing ruling, and here the key point for us, maslaha, public welfare. And they relied on Islamic legal principles and issued fatwa, Islamic legal opinions, to assess the permissibility of various innovations. Historical examples such as the permissibility of surgery, the development of astronomy, the regulation of the printing press show how these principles were applied in practice. Let me conclude this part. While Islam traditionally supports science and technology, the main consideration is whether these advancements benefit humanity and align with Islamic ethical values. Transhumanism as a scientific movement does not inherently contradict Islam, but certain theological assumptions raise paradoxical questions that must be addressed from an Islamic perspective. Yeşil Yurt, the Islamic theology, explores the relationship between transhumanism and Islam, which I will briefly examine. So, first of all, Islamic tradition recounts the extraordinary abilities of prophets, some of which seem to align with transhumanism ideas. So we have Jesus here. He is healing, reviving the dead, creating life from clay, and knowing the unseen. For example, people's actions show parallel advancement in maybe AI or biotechnology. Or Prophet Nuh, The building the ark can be viewed as humanity's creative role in the world, resembling the transhumanist concept of humans shaping their destiny. Transhumanism aims for life extension or immortality in a wider context, and the Quran also mentions long lifespans. Let's have a look. Prophet Nuh, for example, lived for nearly 950 years, and the sleepers of the cave slept for hundreds of years, maybe for 300 or 309. So Islam emphasizes that only God has control over life and death, and this is the key point. It is not something that we have in our own hands. Yeah. And you see, I add all the verses, so if you're interested in, just look it up, yeah? Let me go on with medical advancement in Islam. Islam encourages medical progress to preserve life. Key hadith state here: seek treatment, O servants of Allah, for Allah has created a cure for every disease except old age. Except old age. There is no disease that Allah has created except that He has also created its cure. The pursuit of healing is seen as aligned with divine will, contrasting with transhumanism goal to eradicate illness and mortality. Islam places emphasis on the quality of life than length. Scholars like Aisha Musa suggest that life extension could be acceptable if it doesn't imply immortality. Hadith indicates that supplication and good deeds, not immortality, extend life, as Yeshayurt rightly points out. So we've got here two other hadiths. Only supplication can change destiny, and God's deeds extend life. Whoever wishes for a long life, prosperity, and protection from a bad death should fear Allah and maintain family ties. So there are possibilities to have a long life, but we don't have this in control. This is in control of God. What we can do is just praising God and doing dua. That's all. And another point, you also mentioned this, Hurayra. Transhumanism and mysticism, Islamic mysticism. Yeah. In Sufism, the perfect human is spiritually refined rather than physically enhanced. This Al-Insan Al-Kamil attains completeness through faith, iman, worship, ibadah, and moral excellence, akhlaq. So my conclusion, the compatibility of transhumanism with Islam remains contested. The key issue is whether these advancements serve the public welfare, maslahah, and adhere to Islamic ethical standards. Technologies that benefit only a privileged few could exacerbate social injustice, contradicting Islam's emphasis on social justice, responsibility, and solidarity within the community, so within the ummah. But what are these ethical standards I'm talking about? So we have here sincerity. Actions should be done with pure intentions and for the sake of God, not for personal gain and public recognition. Honesty and fairness, honesty and truthfulness. Islam emphasizes the importance of speaking the truth, fulfilling promises, and avoiding deceit or fraud. Justice and fairness, ensuring fairness in all dealings, treating others equitably, and upholding justice, whether in personal life, business, or governance. Compassion and mercy. Kindness towards others, including family, neighbors, and even strangers, is a central ethical value in Islam. Trustworthiness, fulfilling one's duties and responsibilities with integrity, whether in personal relationships, business transactions, or professional obligations. Respect for human dignity. Islam upholds the inherent dignity for every human being, regardless of race, religion, or social status. Modesty and humility, avoiding arrogance and pride, and recognizing knowledge, wealth, and status are blessings from God. Patience and perseverance, enduring hardships with resilience, maintaining self-control, and not reacting impulsively. Then we have generosity and charity, giving to those in need, sharing resources, and practicing selflessness. And the last one here is environmental responsibility. Islam considers humans as stewards on earth, Khilafah, emphasizing sustainable and ethical treatment of nature and resources. If you are more interested in ethics, Islamic ethics, you will find a lot of literature out there. This is just one. Islamic ethical standards are not limited to individual behavior. They extend to various aspects of life, including like business and trade, family and social life, politics and governance, and the last point, and the point which is important for us, is science and knowledge. So that leads me to another question: what are life and humanity in Islam? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, were asked, who is the best person? He replied, the one whose life is long and those deeds are good. When asked, who is the worst person? He answered, the one whose life is long, but those deeds are bad. That's a sahih, authentic hadith. These hadiths emphasize that the true value in life in Islam lies not in its length, but in the righteousness of one's actions. In Islam, life is regarded as a sacred trust, amana, from God. The Maqasid al-Sharia, objectives of Islamic law, identify 5 fundamental values that must be preserved for individual and societal well-being. Here they are: protection of religion, ensuring the right to faith, religious practice without coercion and suppression; protection of life, recognizing life as a divine gift that must be safeguarded; protection of intellect, encouraging knowledge and intellectual growth while preventing harm and mental faculties; protection of family and lineage, strengthening family structures as a foundation of a stable society; protection of property, securing individual wealth and resources against injustice and exploitation. Innovations should uphold these 5 values. For example, preserving intellect, hifz al-aql, supports educational and technological progress, provided it does not suppress critical thinking or spread harmful ideas. Similarly, protecting property, hifz al-mal, underscores the importance of cybersecurity, of safeguard financial and personal assets. Thus, Islamic ethics encourage progress that aligns with human dignity, social justice, and divine trust. Another point which is important is that Quran emphasizes human mortality. We have those 2 verses. Verily, every being shall taste death. It is something that we will taste. Indeed, the life on earth is transient. I don't know the right pronunciation for this word. Death, however, is not the end, but a transition. In Islam, true immortality exists only in the afterlife. There is no indication in the Quran and Hadith that humans can achieve immortality in this world. So, Islam sees humans as a unity of body and soul, with the body formed from clay and life granted by God's breath. The body is a trust from God meant to be preserved. This view influences bioethical debates on organ donation, anti-aging, cryonics, and digital consciousness transfer. Islamic ethics evaluate technological advancement based on both their outcomes and intentions, niyyah, behind their use. The pursuit of immortality challenged core Islamic beliefs about God's will, human destiny, and the ethical limits of technology. Since life is considered a divine gift and the timing of birth and death occurs only at God's will, as stated in the Quran, no soul can die except by Allah's permission at a decreed time. Technologies aimed at overcoming death may be seen as an attempt to bypass God's authority. There are several Quranic verses where playing God on earth is always associated with great evil from God. Moreover, it is understood as shirk, which is considered as the greatest sin in Islam. Indeed, the Quran reminds us that life is transient, everything on earth will perish, but the face of your Lord of majesty and honor will remain. The afterlife is seen as eternal, where righteous actions are rewarded. Thus, attempting to surpass life's natural limits seems contradictory to Islamic teachings. And my last point is the human as a guardian of trust and khilafah. The Quran states, they ask you about the soul. The soul is by command of my Lord, and you have been given only a little knowledge of it. The body loses its vitality when the soul departs, but on the day of resurrection, the body will come back to life and the soul returns. Death signifies the separation of body and soul, but this separation is temporary, lasting only until resurrection. The Quran also mentions that body's importance in Surah Al-Mu'minun. Cryonics could be seen as a violation of these principles, and a digital upload might be viewed as reducing the spiritual sense of humanity to mere material and technical aspects. In Islam, humans are regarded as the noblest and superior beings among all creations. Aslat makhluqat. The Quran says, we have certainly created man in the best of stature. He was created you in the best form. Ahsani taqweem. Therefore, the transhumanist assumption that humans are defective and any intervention in human form could be understood as a violation of divine creation. Additionally, humans possess dignity, karamat al-insan, which encompasses meanings like nobility, generosity, honor, and prestige. So my conclusion, in view of Islamic religious education, it's a short one. The discussion surrounding transhumanism presents both a significant challenge and an enrichment for Islamic religious education. One important question, for example, is what kind of Islamic knowledge is being generated by AI, and how this knowledge is integrated into Islamic discussions in the classroom, at the university, a question that needs to be reflected upon. Current school curricula shows that topics such as kalam, aqidah, falsafa, fiqh, the core principles of the core disciplines of Islam are underrepresented, making it difficult to engage thoughtfully with new technologies, recognize the associated paradoxes, and be prepared for them in relation to Islam. In fact, a deeper engagement with Islamic disciplinaries is necessary, and they must also be related to one another to understand the core ideas of Islam. It seems sensible to prepare Islamic religious education for the challenge posed by new technologies, as a complete separation is unrealistic. Four potential approaches teaching are suggested. So the topic, first, what can we do? The topic of challenging and dealing with new technologies could be integrated as an independent subject in the curricula and explored from the Islamic perspective, strengthening students' media and judgment skills. The teaching must not prescribe, as Islam also emphasizes free will and advises against forcing belief. With the topic transhumanism, could also be approached as an interdisciplinary issue. It could be connected only to specific themes such as media and Islam. And the last one is focus exclusively on competency development. So in this case, I have also to mention that teachers urgently need professional development in this area, as they are often left to handle these topics alone. Additionally, teaching materials must be developed that can also be applied in mosques and families. Thank you.